Hello and welcome to the Space Engineers Beta. My name is Rabenschild. We left the alpha phase after 3 years now, and now this game officially is in beta. The Keen Software House guys decided that now is the time to announce that. So as far as I understood it, it has to do with now it has some basically stable features and a good foundation to work on. So now they decided to leave the alpha phase. Yeah, sometimes the game doesn't feel like being an alpha. I'm struggling with some FPS problems after the latest update. I don't know what this is, but you will see some stuttering, I would say. But we have our textures back. That's a good thing. So something changed there. I had a workaround for it, so I was able to play with the textures, but last week on Friday I wasn't able to record it. It was just not possible. And I wanted to show that off, but I saw that the update brought all the necessary changes to bring back the textures. You can even say that even textures that were okay, but with small things that were missed now are completely okay. That's a neat thing. So this game has lost most of its purpleness now, and we can go back to work now in the beta phase. Nothing really has changed, so we can just continue working on this ship. Some people, or no one really tried to say what it could be. It is the Tachi or Rocinante from the Expanse universe, or the books or the series. This is the series one because in the books we never saw it. I'm trying to recreate that as faithful as I can do. I found a modder that is building for his version of it the backside, so the thruster on the back as a hydrogen thruster, and he says he will try to make it really nice. And he had some 3D modeling there that was in there, but he wanted to make it for big grids or large grids. I hope that I not got involved, but I left him a message and said maybe consider doing it as a small grid item too, so that I could integrate that. And he said someone else also requested that, basically, and he thinks about doing that. So I would be really happy if that would work out. We exchanged pictures of our ships here, and let's see what happens there. Maybe we can then bring it back into the dock and change the backside. Now we will have to live with maybe a few more of these. I will see how much energy I can still pump into that. I yesterday took a look if I can add some of the azimuth reactors here, and I can. That's a good thing. So we can add a bit more power to this whole situation here. Good. The front side, I'm still building at it. I'm adding some stairs and all that stuff. I'm not sure what I already told you. I hope this is not too much of a looking back at what I've done here. So I finally was able to add an airlock or something similar to that. So I have one of the small doors on the inside and this one on the outside. It looks a bit more like that in the series, basically, or in the concept art of the series. Let's say it that way. I looked at some concept art that I really like. I had problems with one of the mods that makes the vanilla blocks yeah, available in small versions. So I lost the cannon I wanted to use. I had to delete the mod, otherwise my whole game would crash when I do. Let us just see. There was a bit of this is what happens now. The other mod I have for the small blocks seems to have no version of the control station, but has one for the flight seat. So I don't know why it shows up. Maybe there is a version of the control station planned, or there could also be some missing models or something like that. Flight seat is here. We could use that, but I have this extra small version flight seat. I think it's now a good idea to have that, because it really crashed the whole game when I tried to work with both models, and it's good to have something completely away from the original models, because this is just a version that opens up the big models to the small blocks. I don't know how that works, but having a single thing that is basically made for that, I think it's better. We will see. On the backside here, a door too. Detailing, again, will come later. Working on that. It's hard to really find detailing stuff. It's even with the small blocks, sometimes you need to just add stuff for details. Just imagine things. Here could be some things like this and that, because the concept art is not going completely into detail. I know that there's some stuff here on the sides and here, and I will have to bring a lot of fantasy into that is maybe not known, or not on the real thing, let's say it that way. I had some people commenting on the Airlock. Armitage also had a remark that said maybe this force field just works for the structure it is attached to, basically. And I think that's true. I had the same thing in my mind, that it might not work because of it also didn't work because it was just not the whole thing wasn't just, yeah, again, it makes the block it basically is on, it doesn't make airtight, but the other one that's next to it is then airtight. I don't completely and fully understand it, but someone said I should try to maybe do an airlock, really do an airlock with it, and I would like to try that, but on the other hand, the whole structure would be so big that I don't know if it's really possible. The merge blocks are no option for me. I decided. People said I could make them the whole grid on basically on rotors, so this thing stays stable where it is, but the top part will then be attached and all this stuff. No. This is a change I can't do anymore. And I'm not a fan of these workarounds. In my opinion, it should just work and say, okay, this is a stable structure. I don't move that if the box is ticked there. But I will take this side to experiment on that a bit more. Maybe, yeah, I would have liked to have something, the same structure on this side, on the other side too. But for now, we can experiment with this and then just see if we can, I don't know, find a way how we can solve the problem. So I really would like to try something like an 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 airlock with these shield blocks or these energy airtight things blocks. Oh, I've closed that. It would be neat to do that, and so we might want to experiment with an airlock that can do that if we can find a way there. So I think both parts of the airlock, the thing on the ship and the thing on the station, needs the shields there. And then we can maybe make a system again like we did in the last episode and say, okay, we basically have a nozzle that attaches to something like for example this hangar gets driven into there, and then there is some connectors that connect it in the end. Our problem always will be the wonky block sizes, because a block that is a slope in the visuals, in reality is no slope. It's basically just a normal block. Yeah, a square, not a square. How's it called? I don't get it today. It's it's Sunday, and yesterday I helped my brother to move his furniture from his old apartment in his new one, and I'm completely wrecked now. So that also makes problems, because these blocks bump into each other, damage each other, and I wouldn't know how big I would have to make stuff like that. And then there is the thing that I don't know if I also would do something similar for small ships. Then the whole thing might be easier, because small ships, again, I can make it a bit smaller in size, but I think there's no airtight blocks for small ships. It's all too crazy to really handle it. It will be, I think I will just do it for big ships. The ship in dock at the moment will be the only thing I build in that size with small blocks. I think everything else will or should be able to go into the hangar of the base. That is, I think, a better solution for this all. Good. Let me build a bit on a thing we could try here. I will add a ship, or can I just take this one again and I could just try this one again, bring it over, or we could build something new. Let us build something new just as a test bed for this whole docking shebang. Maybe we can add some isolator to it or something like that. Let me see what I can do here. We'll be back in a second. I know, it's not beautiful. That's definitely not what it is. But here we now have an airtight room. So this thing is at least the basic concept of what we would need to basically fulfill the docking requirements. But it is too big at the moment. That's the main problem I have with it. It's, don't know, 1/4 of the size of the whole station, and docking shouldn't be that big. But even with merge blocks, we saw we would need it in a bigger way. So if we would have two merge blocks here, and then we would have to surround it with blocks because the merge blocks themselves are not airtight. So this is on each side basically just one more block, and then this whole docking and it being airtight is a real problem. We could use just use don't know, some airlocks, but the thing that I want is that you can go from a ship with basically without bringing your helmet down. So without closing your helmet, I want it to be able to go from the ship to the station without having to close your helmet, or without having to put on a spacesuit. And that's why we are trying that here. I had that, or not I had that, but I tried that for the last season, I think, too. And I tried it for the mining station. For the mining station I didn't. I had in here, but the last season, I think I toyed around with that. Maybe one day being able to go from ship to base without having to close your helmet. Because even when you use airlocks, as far as I see it, airlocks in a way that we have here, so like this, when you close the airlock and open it to the other side, then there shouldn't be oxygen, or there will not be any oxygen. So even that is not a good idea, having two airlocks that are just in contact with each other, and you can't bring them in contact with each other. So doesn't matter. Now the thing is, we need a ship that is able to get in there. Let me do another crude. It's crude building. Okay, and we have another room that is airtight, oxygen filled. You can see that. I have put some ice, and I need to bring in ice. I'm running out of ice. I think I'm losing oxygen somewhere again, and my whole systems here can't keep up. I'm not too sure. You see, I don't have hydrogen at all, or at least not enough. I don't know where that stuff goes, and I'm losing out on oxygen. Next thing I need to do is bring in more ice. I'm doing an ice run and bring in as much as I can. Just fill up the holes. So let us try that out. One thing I can't influence is a problem with the force fields here. This block, that's the block that just projects one single. Let me show that to you. So the force field blocks, they are set up in a way where you have 10 blocks. This one projects a force field of a size of 1, and the last one a size of 10. It works the same as one of the hanger blocks. So just with a longer thing. The hanger blocks have, I think, 2 blocks above them. So that's the main starting blocks. That's the same as this force field block. And then when you close it, it projects. This one does that too. And I'm raising my arms to do the air quotes. Projects the door in front of it, and the airtight force field that does basically the same. So you have to close it. That's one thing to remember. And then it air tightens the room behind that. So you can see that normally I think this wouldn't be airtight, but this basically projects a block in front of here that we can pass through, but the air can't. And the game recognizes this as airtight. That's why the room can be open like this. We don't know. One problem with this is that the model of this one needs to be placed by putting a block here, basically. So this block doesn't recognize the block above it, at least not when building it. When you have built it, it accepts this block as the block that holds it in place. So you can place blocks around it, but this will not hold the block in place. The one that holds the block in place is the one on top of here, but to place it, you need to go one to the left from my side out here. So weird, it must be a problem in the mod itself. Don't know. Good, but we can test this again. This is basically the setup, or close to the setup we had the last time. The last time we had the setup where the block was... I don't think that I had an airtight block on there, but this is similar. But I think it was smaller. So I brought this one block out more, so that now this... Let me... We have two blocks here, so the airfield or the force field would be on this block. If the airfield or the air force field, the airtight force field, if it projects into this structure, then the border would be basically somewhere on these blocks. So it should be airtight even, or it could be airtight even if we open this block here. And we will definitely test that. Let me see if I can bring that thing in there without damaging too much. I know this provokes naughty thoughts again, but we will just cope with it. Okay. Now let's see if this works out. Okay. You can see the other side is still airtight and this side is too. If I now... And that's neat. If I now turn off the force field, what happens then if I close the force field here? This should be it. It's white and open. Now, if it still has... No. Okay, we now know that we now definitely know that the grid matters. So this airtight force field just works on the main grid here. So if we build something like that, we will need an airtight force field block here on the other grid too to make it safe. Let me turn that back on. Because one thing I definitely want to test is if we can pass through the force fields without having our helmet on. Okay. Both fields are activated, both sides are airtight. So I should be able to turn off my helmet, have the jetpack on. The helmet is still off. And do we take damage somewhere? No. So this at least works. That's a neat thing. We pass from one airtight room or air-filled room into another one. So the next thing we could do is find a neater, a neater solution for that. Maybe make it a bit smaller and take a look at where we really need blocks. The problem is, again, this will bump. It needs to be bigger. There's no way that these two things fit into each other. the pictures fit tight into each other and look neat. This will not work. This will not work. So we need a size that is similar to that, and then have on the other side something similar to that. This would again give us the possibility to have a way to cross from the station into a ship without the need of a suit, for example. It's a bit dangerous, and if the force fields ever would go out, we all would die in an airless, in a vacuum filled. Vacuum filled is the wrong word, I would say. We would die in the vacuum of space. Yeah, crazy, but it gives us an option to at least design something that could work here. We could have it asymmetric, so have something like this on this side of the station and something like this on the other side of the station, and take a look at what proves to be better. Here we just have to close the helmet for a second, get into the airlock, and it works out. The feeling is not right, or the thing you want is, although it's completely BS to just it's too dangerous. I don't know how real astronauts do it. Yeah, they don't put on air suits going from one thing to the other, but the airlocks work differently. It's crazy. Okay, enough experimenting for today. We know now that this works. We could use the force fields if they hopefully still exist in the next versions, and design an airlock that would give us the possibility to pass from ship to station without having to wear a helmet or without having to wear a suit, in RP reasons, role-playing reasons, something like that. Good to know that. Now I can concentrate on other stuff. It's funny. Sometimes I have to get stuff like this out of my head to really know if it works, and then I can do other things, work more on the station, and maybe find a solution that looks a bit neater than what we have here. Good people, I think that's all for today. I hope you liked this bit of experimenting and the update in the beginning, and I hope to see you in the next episode. I would say, see ya, guys.